Welcome back to the ASOG News Studio. My name is Tom Whalegum, and very happy to have Nic Smith in here from SAP.
Happy to be here.
Awesome. We're going to do some demoing, some cool stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit first and then get to that. Nic is the Director of Marketing for Mobile Analytics for SAP.
That's right.
How long you been with SAP?
Well, I'm an old school business objects guy. I was with business objects way back until the Crystal days. And so originally with Crystal Decisions, based up in Vancouver, so I'm a West Coast guy. And I did a short stint down at Microsoft, so moved from Vancouver down to Seattle and hung out and did the Microsoft thing for a while, and then have just recently come back to SAP, back in Vancouver now, and focusing in on business intelligence and where we're going with the hottest topic that's out there right now. Everybody wants to talk about it, mobility. Mobility. Everybody talking about it. So got to focus on the hot stuff.
Absolutely. This is great. One question I want to ask you before we get in the demo was, there's a lot of, I'm sure you see this, varying degrees of IT sophistication. I'm sure the demand is there for mobility from the users. I mean, that's clear. I mean, we don't need any more surveys but yet, the IT departments, maybe they can handle it, maybe they can't. Where would you recommend companies who are interested get started?
Right. Well, there's all sorts of different starting points, and as you mentioned, devices out there today. IT has some challenges. There are many different types of smartphone devices and tablet devices, and so IT has to make decisions and choices based on what devices are out there today. Now, many IT departments are saying, hey, users that are in the organization, bring your device in, and we're going to fit whatever it is, our apps, onto that device. Now, from a BI perspective, there's lots of different starting points, and from a pure business objects and getting BI content onto mobile devices, business objects, this is something business objects has been doing for years and years and years, over 10 years now, of extending functionality that you would have within Crystal Reports or Web Intelligence, our BI content types, to mobile devices. We can do that today on BlackBerry devices and Windows mobile devices. But as we move forward into this next generation of tablet devices and the iPad and Android devices, there's a new generation of a form factor out there that is just taking the world by storm, and I think you can see it here at the conference today, or this week, where there are just so many people walking around with some sort of a tablet device, most of them being iPads or iPhones, finding out where they're supposed to be next and doing something on that device. So to get started, there is all sorts of different ways, but it really depends on what's the landscape of smartphones and tablets within the organization, and then taking a look at what is the best fit in terms of an app that's going to render analytics on that device. And now from our standpoint, we've got a multi-device strategy, so that means support for all the major operating systems, whether it's RIM technology, iOS, iPad or iPhone or Android. And we've got BI technology that we can extend up to that to those platforms. So whether it's on Android or on the iPad, being able to take your favorite BI content and extend it out to that device, and that's what we're looking at doing. So many ways that customers can get started today, depending on where they're at. They don't actually have to be on the latest version or be on version 4.0. There's all sorts of ways they can get started with mobile analytics.
But it's probably good to have a strategy, right? I mean, you don't want to just rush into this. Clearly, it could set yourself up for failure if you don't come out, okay, what's the business process we're trying to solve?
Well, absolutely. As we start to look at more and more business apps getting out there on devices, one of the challenges of IT is how do we manage those apps and how do we provide security for all of these analytics and BI that are going on these devices. So if you think more, as we get into mobile BI more and more and more, there's more data and there's more risk of, hey, if I lose my device, potentially is secure data at risk. And so one of the advancements and one of the technologies coming into the portfolio from our friends over at Sybase with the acquisition that SAP made with Sybase is a technology called Afaria, which provides device management and security, which allows IT to remotely wipe those devices. So for instance, if I have my favorite reports on my iPad and I walk into Starbucks and enjoying my conversation with you, I forget my iPad at Starbucks, IT can remotely wipe that device. The other thing that they can do with Afaria specifically is provision apps to a mobile device. And so myself, as Nic Smith within SAP, I have access to certain types of apps, so it provides IT a way to control those apps that get out onto the devices.
Right, great. Well,
I know you're itching to see something.
I'm itching to see some demo here, and we've got it hooked up.
Great. So
why don't you show us
yeah,
first?
well, why don't I start walking through? We had a few really cool keynotes this week, and one of the things that they showed within the keynote was one of our new apps for the iPad, which is called simply Mobile BI, and this is extending mobile business intelligence capabilities, and in this case we're looking at web intelligence reports out to the iPad, and this is a new app that's available out there on the App Store, so you can just do a quick search on the App Store for SAP Business Objects Mobile, and you'll get to this app. Now, what I'm looking at, or what we're looking at here, is effectively a web intelligence report, but we're looking at it from a very visual and interactive way, so I can interact with the charts and the graphs, the line charts. In this case, we're looking at sales analysis. So this may be, as a sales guy or a marketing guy, I want to get a monthly update pushed to my device of what's going on in my region, my territory, and I can do some very quick, very interactive analysis. I've got visualizations here. I've got pie charts, bar charts. I can do some drill analysis. I could drill into this pie chart, do some filtering.
Now, I just want to interrupt for a second. You're obviously very well versed in this.
Absolutely.
For the user who's used to a desktop, maybe a laptop, how much of a change is it moving to this type of environment? If they own this device, presumably they kind of know how to get around. But if they're handed to this device, they're a sales guy. Is it intuitive?
Well, so I've just started using this device recently, and let me tell you, it is amazingly simple, super intuitive, and the experience of the device lends you to want to touch it and interact with it. Okay. And so just that simple experience of me starting to play around with visualizations, I can quickly start to drill into data, analyze information, and get a full sense of what it is I'm actually looking at. So it's the magic of the device married with the business analytics and the BI software that's really pulling off these visuals.
So the software is also as intuitive as you. I mean, I know this is a big push for SAP. Historically, not known for intuitiveness. Now I know Business Object has come along and tried to change that. Are you saying that the software these days is much more intuitive?
We're trying to make it as simple to use and integrated as possible. Another example of integration here, for instance, say I have a view that I'm really interested in, I want to share it with you, I want to share it with my boss, maybe your boss. I can take a quick snapshot of that, and I can email it to you, obviously, because we're connected here, the 3G network, we're on Wi-Fi, we can send it to you, but we want to collaborate around that, so bringing in collaboration into the experience. And so right now, what I'm doing is just uploading this to Streamwork, which is our online collaboration tool. Anybody can go and check it out for free, sapstreamwork.com. You can check it out, and I'll include myself in here. I'll include you as well at a later point, and just send that off. And now I've uploaded this information. I've created a collaboration space, an activity within Streamwork to collaborate around my analytics. Now I can also launch my Streamwork app and see those feeds coming in real time. And so from a business standpoint, we see collaboration, analytics, and the core of what SAP is really doing from a transactional standpoint, line of business systems really coming together. And so here, this would be my Streamwork feeds coming in, almost like a Twitter or a Facebook for the enterprise. As people start to interact with data and do activities, we can do that all online through Streamwork. I can add a comment, I can add a note, and you can see some of I've done this demo a few times where I've uploaded an analytic, and you can see in here, here's a previous one that I did. Nic Smith uploaded sales analytics, so there it is up in Streamwork.
We look at this and it seems, wow, the possibilities seem not endless, but pretty close to that.
Yeah.
How do you help companies who are maybe overwhelmed by this? They're like, wow, that looks great, but seemingly a little overwhelmed. We know our business object environment pretty well, but this kind of adds a different dimension.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Companies are coming to us and saying, hey, we need to go mobile. So they're really coming to us and saying, help us get mobile and help us get this on our devices. Now, there's a couple great ways that customers out there can get started today, particularly if they have a large user base of iPhones and iPads. Two apps that are out there available. The one that I just showed, SAP Business Objects Mobile, is the first one. The other one that's been out there for about over a year now is Explorer, and Explorer available on the iPhone and on the iPad. One of the top business apps that's out there on the market today. Over 200,000 downloads on iTunes for Explorer alone. So a lot of momentum there. And Explorer is getting better and better all the time. One of the cool things about the development cycles of these apps is taking them, taking the iterations and taking the enhancements and just getting those up on iTunes so that users can download the next version, download the latest version, and get some of these new features right on their device. Now, Explorer is all about asking simple questions of information, end user to a T, and just being able to navigate, search, and explore your information. The other aspect that customers are really excited about when it comes to data exploration is that they can do it on big data. And so the concept of HANA, which is something we've heard a lot about this week, of in-memory computing, Explorer is one of those BI experiences that we can do today on top of big data.
Great, Nick. Well, thank you very much for stopping by. We
Anytime
appreciate on the demo.
Anytime.
Great. Stay tuned. We have our last interview of the day. Steve Ruggiero is going to be with us, so come back in about 5 minutes. Thank you. Great. I believe it worked. I didn't see any...
They weren't waving their hands.
They weren't waving their hands over there.
They were like, stop, what are you doing?
Well, I was wondering if they were going to...
Well, I think we have...